A farmer in Kansas saw the first flash. He looked up and thought it was lightning. Then came the sound, a low hum like the earth was growling. The cows ran. Birds vanished. Seconds later, the sky cracked open. Over 130 cities saw it. Not stars, not meteors.bio-warheads. Hundreds of them, falling from orbit. Glowing green, trailing black smoke. No country saw them coming. No radar, no satellites picked them up. They weren't launched. They were grown silent and alive. Within hours, oceans turned black, forests turned to ash, and people started to die. Main story begins. The news called it the Skybreak event. Governments froze. Panic exploded. Entire cities collapsed under their own chaos before a single enemy was seen. The death toll passed 1 billion in the first 72 hours. By day 10, it was over 3 billion. They didn't die from explosions or bullets. They died from the air spores. Invisible alien particles floated in. People coughed, bled, screamed, and dropped off within minutes. Children were hit hardest. Pets, elders. The poison didn't just kill it, rewrote DNA. In some areas, people melted. Others changed. The silence that followed then came silence. No enemy ships, no alien armies, just black skies. Some survivors swore. They heard voices, soft, distant, cold. You belong to us now. Earth's military tried to respond. Communications were breaking down. Satellites were falling. Whole fleets vanished from orbit. At the United Earth Defense HQ, deep under Greenland, the generals and world leaders argued. "This is extinction," said one commander. "We are dying, and we still don't know what we're fighting." Another scientist, pale and shaking, stood up. "There is one option." Everyone turned. The forbidden project behind heavy vault doors, locked for over 80 years, sat something that had been buried by every major government after the last Great War. Project Graveborn, created to build perfect soldiers, abandoned when tests proved too dangerous. The files were labeled uncontrollable, too powerful, not fully human. They weren't just super soldiers. They were monsters, made in labs, engineered in war, trained in simulations that broke normal minds. They had been sealed away forever until now. The decision president, Alara Miles, sat in the dark with the emergency committee. Her hands trembled as she stared at the screen, showing live death counts numbers rising by the second. "If we open that vault," she whispered, "we lose control." General Ives replied coldly, "We already did." The code was entered. Vault 19 began to unlock. The first monster wakes beneath Antarctica. In a hidden black site known only as the Sink, alarms screamed. Steel walls shook. Cold vapor hissed from cryotanks. The first Graveborn opened its eyes. He had no name. It's just a number. GRV-01. Eyes like burning stars. Muscles like carved stone. No fear, no mercy. He stepped forward, wires tearing from his back. 2 guards aimed rifle standard protocol. He looked at them once. They dropped dead. No movement, no sound, just death. Earth's real monsters are awake. Across the world, other cryotombs opened. Gervo, a woman with skin that shimmered like steel and a voice that killed at a whisper. GRV-04, a child, barely 10 years old, but with a brain wired to hack AI systems by blinking. GRV-09, a beast over 9 feet tall, born in zero gravity. Built for planetary siege. They had been made to fight gods. Now they had one target. Whoever broke the sky, the first clash in the ashes of New Mumbai, something alien finally showed itself. Not a ship, not a being. A spike over, a mile tall, erupted from the ground. It pulsed, hummed, and began sucking the atmosphere like a lung. Regular soldiers approached. They died screaming then. GRV-01 arrived. He didn't speak. He ran straight toward the spike and punched through it. Ignoring the living tentacles slashing at him, the spike exploded. One survivor's video leaked. Across Earth's broken networks, a voice narrating in awe. "They're not men. They're not machines. They're monsters. Our monsters. Ending scene suspense preview of Part 2. In the hidden chamber of Vault 19B, another door began to open. Hadn't been authorized. Not by the government. Not by humans. Inside was the most dangerous Graveborn of all. General Alex Everin. The first successful hybrid. Smart, ruthless, and locked away for turning on his own creators. He stepped into the light, smiling faintly. They killed 3 billion. Cute. Let's show them what we really buried. Beneath 6 miles of solid ice, the door hissed open. The red light turned green, and the man who wasn't supposed to wake up stepped forward. General Alex Vorin, the first Graveborn. It's the only one they had to sedate by force and lock away from. The others. He wasn't screaming. He wasn't confused. He was smiling. Inside the security station, 2 guards panicked. Their rifles were up. Their fingers shook. Halt. Subject GRVO, stand down. Vorin tilted his head, then disappeared in a blink. When the cameras came back online, both guards were unconscious live, but dreaming. Stuck in some kind of loop, mumbling the same phrase. The monsters are awake. The monsters are awake. Maine. Story begins. Vault 19 was active again. For the first time in 82 years. Red warning lights spun in every corridor. Cryo chambers. Hissed. Fluid poured across the steel floors. Men and women not born natural, not raised in homes, but engineered in. Hidden labs began to breathe. GRVO-1 stood silently in the command room. His eyes locked on the screen showing Earth's surface burning cities. Dying oceans, the alien infections spreading like rot around him. Other Graveborn stirred. Gervo-5 cracked his fingers and grinned at the chaos. Gervo-7 whispered names of old enemies from wars that never happened. GRVO-3, the blind assassin, simply listened to the pulse of Earth and said, "The heartbeat is slowing. We need to hit something." Then Vorin entered. The room fell silent. Even the monsters listened. The commander of monsters, Vorin, had once led the original Graveborn units in the silent Mars Rebellion. He'd ended 3 civil wars in 14 hours. He wasn't built like the others. He was smarter, colder, more strategic. He walked to the table, slammed his hand down, and brought up classified footage. The alien spores, the burning cities, 3 billion humans dead. "We were made for one thing," he said. "To kill threats like this? They locked us away. Now they beg us to save them." He smiled. "Let's give them what they paid for." The briefing satellite footage showed spiked towers appearing across Earth. They weren't ships. They weren't buildings. They were living invasion routes, growing into the planet, turning it into something else. "Terraformers," Vorin said. "They're turning Earth into a nest." But there was something worse. From beneath the spiked towers, something massive was beginning to rise. Not a machine, not a creature. Something in between. It pulsed like a heart. It glowed like a brain, and every time it beat, millions of humans died faster. Resistance begins. Vorin divided the Graveborn to 4 squads. Spear team, elite shock troopers, melee specialists designed to crash into hive structures. Ghost team, infiltrators who could walk unseen, melt metal, and whisper enemies to death. Team, burners, heavy flame units trained to destroy alien biotech. Breaker team, siege monsters. Oh, big, brutal, and loud. Each team took a continent there. Orders: find the hives, destroy them, save no structures, ask no questions. Humanity didn't need peace. It needed vengeance. Earth reacts. Not everyone welcomed the monsters. In North America, a surviving general ordered an airstrike on a Graveborn landing team. The jets didn't make it past the clouds. GRV-04-A. Girl with metal veins and silver eyes looked at the sky and simply whispered, "No." Every missile detonated in midair. She never even raised her hand. "You asked us to save the world," she said coldly. "Don't tell us how." It's the first real victory in Western Europe. A massive spike tower threatened to explode into a second infection wave. Thousands of human survivors were still trapped nearby. Spear team dropped in without warning. No transport, no gear. They fell from orbit and landed. Like meteors, the alien swarm moved fast. The Graveborn moved faster. GRV-05 grabbed an alien flyer and slammed it into the core of the tower. GRV-02 sliced through 3 defenders in a blur, her body moving faster than sight, and Vorn walked straight into the spike's heart, then lit his own blood on fire. The tower collapsed in on itself. Alien screams filled the air. Earth heard them and smiled. The threat beneath, but it wasn't over. Deep under the oceans, long-range sonar picked up movement. Something massive, something ancient, something that didn't come from space. Dr. Olana, surviving xenobiologist, watched the readings and turned pale. This thing is buried under Earth. It's not alien. It's ours. We locked it down during the First War. The aliens just woke it up. A burning city, smoke and blood mixed in the sky. The sound of children screaming echoed through. Shattered skyscrapers. A human convoy, what was left of it, sped through the ruins of old Berlin. 15 armored trucks carrying refugees, scientists, and the last of Earth's medics. Behind them, the swarm. Black creatures, taller than tanks, crawling like insects, but moving like machines. No eyes, no mouths, only claws and rage. Suddenly, the convoy stopped. The lead truck exploded. The driver had seen them too late. Standing in the middle of the ruined street was a single Graveborn, GRV-05. No armor, no gun, just a red cloak and knuckles scarred like broken stone. One soldier inside the truck grabbed a cum. We've got a visual Graveborn unit ahead, but he's not moving. Then the swarm reached them, and GRV-05 smiled. Main story begins. He didn't run. He didn't speak. He leaped forward and chaos followed. One punch shattered a bio-beast's skull. Another caved in the road beneath 24 drones. He was faster than eyes. He was stronger than machines. He wasn't fighting to win. He was enjoying. Yet the humans in the trucks watched, frozen. One child whispered, "He's not a man." A medic responded, "No, he's what comes after." The fight expands while GRV-05 cleared Berlin. Ghost Team moved into the ruins of Shanghai. Their leader, GRV-07, was a shadow. Literally, he moved between walls. He whispered into command nodes and made alien brains explode. He hacked spires with his breath. He killed without touching. But inside his mind, something was breaking. "They used to fear me," he whispered. "Now they run." That's no fun at all. Trouble within back in the hidden base. General Alex Vorn watched reports from around the world. The Graveborn were winning, but they weren't listening. Followed orders. Others vanished mid-mission. Worse. Some had started building things. Spires, machines, biostructures that weren't human or alien. Warren knew what it meant. The Graveborn are evolving, he told Dr. Olin there. Not just weapons anymore. They're waking up. The origin is rising meanwhile. Sonar from beneath the Atlantic screamed a new warning. The prototype Graveborn was rising, codenamed Monarch, the first of its kind, too dangerous to kill, intelligent to destroy. They sealed it in a deep sea trench, under 10 miles of ice and iron. But the alien spores had found it, and it was moving. "If that thing reaches the surface," said Dr. Olan, "the Graveborn won't fight it. They'll follow it." The child who survived in the underground colony of Ganymede Station, a girl named Eva, was drawing. She wasn't more than 11 years old, but her drawings weren't normal. Maps of enemy spires, symbols only seen in alien tech, and faces. Faces of Graveborn she had never met. One officer leaned in. "How do you know these things?" Eva looked up. Her voice was calm. "They talk to me, the monsters. They remember me." Back in the fire in Berlin, GRV-05 faced his final challenge. A Titan swarm lord. Over 80 feet tall. Covered in bioarmor and pulsing with alien energy, humans fled. GRV-05 stayed. His knuckles were broken. His lungs burned. His heart had stopped once. already, but he grinned and whispered, "You don't get it. I don't die easy." He leaped onto the beast's head, and then he exploded. Not from bombs, from rage, from raw. Kinetic fury built into his muscles. The Titan fell, a crater remained, and in the center, GRVO5 walked out, dragging the alien's skull. The real war begins. The humans cheered, but high above, in Earth's shattered orbit, a new ship arrived. It wasn't alien. It was human, dash-made, old, burned, marked with banned. Graveborn symbols, a voice crackled through an open frequency. "This is GRVOO Monarch. The true Graveborn has returned." Earth's sky, once dark with ash, suddenly lit up with a new sun. But it wasn't a star, it was a ship. Monarch had arrived, the first Graveborn, the prototype, the one even Earth's creators couldn't destroy. His ship was ancient, covered in red-black markings that weren't human. Every sensor that tried to scan it shut down. Every AI that touched its signal fried. No answers, no code, no peace. Then came the message, not from Monarch, but from every Graveborn across the planet. They spoke the same words at the same time. "We remember, we obey, we rise." Main story begins in the orbital command station above Asia. General Alex Vorn stared at the incoming data. "This is it," he said. "The moment everything changes." Monarch's ship named the Leviathan released smaller pods, not missiles, not drones, Graveborn children, each one engineered for a purpose. Some could walk through walls, could disassemble alien tech with their eyes. One had wings and flew without gravity. They didn't wait for orders. They attacked, not just the aliens, but human command centers too. The monster isn't alone. Deep in Earth's crust, the spike towers began reacting. They pulsed, glowed, sent energy skyward, forming a lattice of light connecting to Monarch's ship. Dr. Olin, monitoring from the science vessel Hope's wreck, realized the truth. They're not enemies, they're allies. The aliens didn't wake Monarch. They followed him. Earth was never the target. We were the signal. Leora returns, meanwhile, from a forgotten deep-sea prison base. One of Earth's last true commanders emerged, Captain Leora Velda, only human ever to survive a Graveborn strike team, ambush, and live to capture one. She returned to command with a new directive. The Graveborn are no longer under control. Our job isn't to win the war. Our job is to make sure Earth still exists after it. She launched Project Skybreaker. Project Skybreaker, buried beneath the Arctic, was humanity's last ace. A fleet of living ships created using early Graveborn DNA flesh mixed with steel. Bone fused to plasma. They were fast, they were hungry, and they had one mission: tear the sky open. Led by Leora herself. Skybreaker ships launched into space, heading straight for the Leviathan inside. Monarch waited. He wasn't worried. The clash in Orbitsky Breaker versus Leviathan, man versus monster, flesh versus God. The battle was pure chaos. No physics, no rules. Just roars and screams and explosions that made the stars flicker. Skybreaker. Pilots began dying, but one Graveborn rebelled. GRVO2. The silver-skinned woman with voice-kill power turned on her own. We were made to protect Earth, not rule it, not destroy it. I remember who I was. She entered the Leviathan alone. Inside the beast, Graveborn walked through living corridors of the ship. Every wall pulsed with alien organic matter. The air was thick, heavy with voices whispering from every direction. She found Monarch seated on a throne of bone and starlight. He opened his eyes. "You betray your kind." She raised her blade. "No," I returned to it. On Earth, Eva, the strange psychic child who could hear Graveborn, thoughts, was hooked into the last global defense grid. Her drawings had now become predictive attack maps. She could feel when and where the Graveborn would strike before they moved. She connected with GRVO2 across space and blood and code. They made a choice. "We can't kill Monarch," Eva said. But we can lock him away again. The rain fell black in South America, toxic, sticky, and warm like blood. An Earth's deep-sea scanner picked up something strange, human. Colony deep inside the Brazilian dead zone. It had been marked destroyed 3 years ago. No life signs. No radio. Nothing. Now, suddenly, full power. Full signal. People were alive inside. An elite human recon team led by Captain Drex landed nearby. Their boots crunched over bones and vines that hissed when touched, and then they saw them humans, walking toward them. But their eyes were glowing blue, and they smiled like they didn't know what pain was. One of them, a young woman, spoke with a voice that echoed in every soldier's mind. You shouldn't have come back. This place belongs to the old gods now. Main story. Begins the colony was called Ishmael, once a biotech research zone abandoned during the first collapse. It was believed wiped out by early alien spores. But it had survived. Sort of, the people weren't infected. But they weren't normal either. We're evolved, they said. The Graveborn unlocked the door. We walked through it. They worshipped something beneath the earth. Something they called the Rootmind. Back at Skybreaker, Command General Vorn received the footage. His eyes narrowed. That's not alien tech. That's pre-Graveborn. Old Earth experiments. We buried them after. The War of the Fused. Dr. Olin confirmed it. Ishmael wasn't just a colony. It was a genetic tomb. A lab. A vault for failed prototypes, early human hybrids that didn't survive the Graveborn project. Except, now they were thriving. And one of them had taken control. A new threat emerged. Her name was Mara. Once a scientist, now something else. She had no age, no heart rate, no fixed form. Her body changed every hour, skin growing new patterns, eyes reshaping, hair vanishing and returning. She greeted the recon team with kindness, then ordered one of them to be disassembled, cell by cell, just to understand pain again. I'm not cruel, she said softly. I'm just curious how you left us behind. Now we'll show you what we became. Earth divided back on the surface. Debate raged. Some leaders saw Ishmael as a threat. Others wanted to study it. Some even believed it might replace the Graveborn as Earth's next weapon. But Vorn wasn't convinced. They're not saviors. They're reflections. We buried our worst mistakes, and now they're walking around with our faces. Ava's visions at the same time. Eva, the psychic child connected to the Graveborn network, began drawing again. But this time it wasn't battlefields. It was Mara. Over and over. In different forms, in one image. Ra stood over Earth, gently tearing open the sky like paper. In another, she stood beside Monarch, smiling. She's part of something bigger, Eva said. Something deeper than all of us. The message Mara sent a signal to every human survivor base. I am not your enemy. I am not your ally. I am what comes after war. You wanted monsters. We became gods instead. Then her colony vanished, moved underground using living tunnel creatures grown from her own blood. She was hiding again and growing the decision. General, Vorn gathered the remaining Graveborn and human fleet commanders. They had 3 choices. Destroy Ishmael completely, bargain with Mara. Let her grow and hope she kills Monarch if he ever returns. Vorn stood at the edge of a digital map and growled. You don't feed fire to fight fire, you drown it. We're going underground. They begged for surrender. 2 alien commanders, scarred, beaten, kneeling in a flooded human outpost. Their voices trembled, translated through the last working AI. We didn't know what you were. We thought Earth was weak. We thought you were human. General Vorn leaned in. The aliens shook harder. You don't understand what you've unleashed, one whispered. Are worse than us. Then one of them looked up at the sky black, lightning flashing. Behind him, they're not fighting for you. They're not fighting us. They're fighting for themselves. Main story begins on Earth's surface. Something was changing. Graveborn teams had stopped reporting. Spear team vanished in Africa. Ash Team went silent after melting half of Australia. Ghost Team broadcast one final message. We've seen the Rootmind. We've seen what comes next. We're switching sides. Vorn watched in silence. Dr. Olin asked, "What do we do now?"
Yo.
Vorn responded without blinking. "We hunt our own." Graveborn rebellion. The truth was spreading like wildfire. Some Graveborn believed humans were too broken to save. Others wanted to remake Earth into a living weapon. Some followed Monarch, even in death. Others now served Mara, the Rootmind Queen, the remaining loyalists. Led by Vorn and GRVO2 formed the last true defense. They were few, but they were angry. "We were made to win wars," GRVO2 whispered. "But this is a civil war. Terraforming. Begins overnight, cities began to change. Trees grew overnight from alien spores. Skyscrapers pulsed like breathing flesh. Roads twisted into organic tenders. In Moscow, Graveborn named GRV-19 raised a massive temple of bone and glass. It wasn't a weapon, it was a message. Carved into the walls, we are not monsters. We are what comes next, Ava's evolution in. A secure bunker, Eva was changing too. Her body hadn't aged, but her mind had. She now spoke in multiple voices, sometimes human, sometimes something else. "I hear the Rootmind in dreams," she told Olan, "but I also hear something deeper. Something buried beneath the Graveborn, beneath Mara, beneath Earth itself." Then she collapsed and drew a new picture. It was the planet, cracked open like an egg. From inside, a silhouette of something rising. The monster within General Vorn stood on a high ridge in Kazakhstan, watching as one of Earth's moons, Lunabeta. An old mining station was shattered from within. Something launched from it, a black spear, heading straight for Earth. "That wasn't alien," Vorn said quietly. "That was ours." Project Helfrigert's final Graveborn experiment, locked in lunar orbit, hidden even from top command. Now, it was awake, and it was coming home. Skybreaker, divide the Skybreaker. Fleet, once the pride of Earth Space Command, was also split. Half followed Captain Leora Vale. Half followed GRV-13, a rogue Graveborn captain who had merged with his ships. "Neural core. I am the storm," he broadcast. "And Earth will bend." Skybreaker vessels turned on each other. Explosions rocked low orbit. The stars above Earth turned red and still. The monsters rose. Paris burned. Not from bombs, not from aliens, from humans. From Graveborn. The Eiffel Spire had been converted into a living tower wrapped in pulsing biotissue. Screaming faces frozen in its walls. From the top, GRV-19, the rogue bone architect, raised a new flag. "Earth belongs to the strong." Weakness ended 3 billion lives. Now we finish what the sky started. Thousands below humans mutated. Brain linked to the Rootmind cheered. In orbit, General Vorn gave the order. "Activate Skybreaker. Level the city. No survivors." A soldier hesitated. "There are still civilians. So was I before they turned me into this." Main story begins. The Earth was split into 3 factions. The Loyalists, humans plus Graveborn, under General Vorn, trying to keep Earth alive. The Evolvers, led by Mara and the Rootmind, fusing biology and machine. The broken rogue Graveborn and hybrids, following old instincts of rage and conquest. Each side called the others traitors. Each believed they were saving Earth. The burn campaign begins across the globe. Orbital strikes lit up the atmosphere. Skybreaker ships rained molten plasma on infected cities. Some Graveborn units turned completely feral, spreading. Fusing with alien tech, even reanimating the dead. One new threat appeared in Istanbul. Gravemind Echo units, human corpses restructured by Graveborn. Energy into mind-linked drones. They didn't bleed. They didn't speak. They only stared. And then they attacked. Inside Mara's mind deep, below the ruins of Brazil, Mara sat connected to the Rootmind core. Her thoughts spread through Earth like radiation. She felt everything. Every dying child in Alaska, every burning tank in Cairo, every skybreaker missile splitting cities in two, and she smiled. "This is evolution," she whispered. "Not through peace, not through power, through fire." Ava's final drawing. Eva was dying. Her small body could no longer hold the Graveborn signals, her brain overloaded by connection to Vorn, to Mara, to the Primeform cocoon. But before she collapsed, she drew one last image. A burning earth cracked. Down the middle, from its core, something massive rose. Not alien, not machine, human, but wrong. Primeform emerges, the cocoon shattered. Out stepped the Primeform, the first and last product of Earth's original genetic experiments. Built from Earth's DNA, Graveborn code, and alien matter, it had no allegiance, no orders, only instinct. Balance the planet. Remove the infection. All infection, including humans, including Graveborn, including Mara. The final split, General Vorn, saw the emergence from orbit. "We're not fighting factions anymore," he said. "We're fighting the end of everything." GRVO2 nodded, wiping blood from her mouth. "Then we go down swinging." They launched a final drop, 10 surviving Graveborn. One last fleet. No backup mission. Strike the heart of the Rootmind. Mara prepares, in her temple beneath the Earth's crust. Mara raised her arms and smiled. Around her, the fusion-spawned children of the Rootmind were growing into weapons. "Let them come," she said. "Let the last heroes burn. And when they do, we will rise from ash." Silence, not peace. Not calm, the silence of extinction. Above Earth, broken skybreaker ships floated like skeletons. Below, the Rootmind had consumed over 60% of the surface. Cities no longer existed, only hives. The last human fleet. Gone, the Graveborn. Armies scattered. The planet had one heartbeat left, and it came from Eva. She lay in a stasis pod, half dead, her mind still connected to everything. She whispered just 2 words, "He's coming." And then the ground trembled, because Earth's final monster had awakened Maine. Story begins. Primeform had no face, no shape. It changed every minute, growing wings, sprouting fire, splitting into multiple bodies, recombining instantly. It was born of every war, coded in human rage. Built to fix Earth by removing all life, it landed in Central Africa with such force the tectonic plates cracked. It didn't roar, it didn't speak, it absorbed everything it touched. Graveborn, Rootmind creatures, humans, machines, and it grew. The last resistance inside the ruins of old Nairobi. General Vorn and GRVO2 watched the sky turn black. "We can't stop it," she said. "No," Vorn answered. "But we can choose who remembers us." The last survivors? Just 42 humans, 6 loyal Graveborn. And Eva, in her pod, boarded the final skybreaker core ship. It had one mission left. Deliver Eva to the heart. Because she wasn't just connected to the Graveborn. She was the last key inside. The mind wore as the ship approached. Primeform. Ava's mind left her body. She entered the Rootmind. Mara waited there, half-goddess, half-beast, glowing with energy from the planet's crust. "You shouldn't be here," Mara said gently. "You're just a child." Eva smiled. "I'm not a child. I'm what Earth remembers. I remember every death, every scream, every lie, and I'm not alone." Behind her, the memories of 3 billion dead rose like ghosts, and they screamed. The final battle in the real world? Vorn led the last assault against Primeform. GRVO2 burned through one of its arms with plasmo-threaded blades. GRV-13 returned from exile, piloting a rogue skybreaker like a spear. Mara, betrayed by her own Rootmind, fused her biomass into a giant blade and struck Primeform's core. But nothing stopped it. It adapted. It countered. It grew stronger, until Eva finally connected. Ava's choice inside the heart of the Rootmind. Eva faced a choice. Join Primeform. Become the new Earth God. Erase all threats, human, alien, or Graveborn. Shut it down. Kill Primeform and destroy the Rootmind. But lose herself forever, she cried. Not from fear, but from the weight of knowing what would be lost. "We're not perfect," she whispered, "but we're worth saving." She chose sacrifice. The end of the monster Primeform paused mid-attack, looked at its hands, then shattered, bursting into light and dust and fire that rose into the atmosphere like a second sun. The Rootmind screamed. Mara vanished. The hive towers fell, and the earth was quiet again. Final moment. Siva's body burned up in the sky like a shooting star. Vorn stood beneath it, alone. He dropped his rifle. GRVO2, half melted, walked up beside him. "Is it over?" He nodded. "We lost the war, but we saved the world."